My dear Nigerians, less than 2 months ago, I declared my intention to vie for the office of President of Nigeria in the 2023 general elections on the platform of the African Democratic Congress, also known as the ADC. I had planned a series of broadcasts to intimate you of my plans for our beloved but almost destroyed nation, Nigeria. And each time I have had to postpone because there was some fire burning in Nigeria. First, we had the crippling 2 months fuel scarcity, which has resurfaced again in some parts of Nigeria. Then, it was the astronomical rise in the price of diesel and other petroleum products, which has all but wiped out the middle class. We also had the Kaduna train bombing with scores killed and hundreds still held by terrorists. Some of us watched the gory video of the young military couple slaughtered like cattle in the southeast. And just a few days ago, we saw students lynch, murder, and burn their fellow students in Sokoto State on the altar of religion. In the midst of the public outcry, the police claimed to have apprehended 2 of the perpetrators when news filtered in that pamphlets were being disseminated, calling for protests to seek their release. As expected, these protests have led to attacks on Christians, their houses of worship, abodes, and places of business. Last night, I watched the heartbreaking cry of a mother as she watched from afar her community being burnt by a rampaging mob and wondered the fate of her children and those of her neighbors. In the midst of her cries, she chanted, "I didn't choose to be born a Christian. Where is the Sokoto government? Where is the police? What wrong have we done?" I say to her, you have done nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing. It was another failure of leadership. The same failure we have seen in recent years by our leaders all over the country. I sincerely doubt that if the majority of leaders in the North had risen swiftly to condemn the senseless murder of Deborah, nobody will have dared protest for the release of the suspects the next day. The mob believe they represent majority of Muslims, and this is not true. Islam is a peaceful religion. We should never confuse failed leadership, hatred, and bigotry with religion. A presidential aspirant from the North actually deleted his tweet condemning the murder of Deborah. What message is he sending to her murderers? Is her murder not condemnable? Leadership is not doing the popular or that which secures you votes. It is doing that which is right. This is the same failure of leadership that is destroying the Southeast. Leaders are afraid to speak up against the killings going on there. They fear for their lives and choose instead to parade themselves in Abuja, seeking power shifts to the same region they no longer control. Leadership and courage go hand in hand. You can never separate the two. We must rise up as Igbo leaders and strongly resist and condemn the reign of terror in Igbo land. Do we now call our children unknown gunmen? Who are we deceiving? We desecrate our land and breed hatred in the victims. The victims are real. Families mourn every day. The economy of southeastern states is being decimated as families and business face ruin. We cannot protest the oppression of the Nigerian state by destroying ourselves and the little federal presence in Igbo land. Who will fund the rebuilding of our land? We must reason with our children. Whilst we acknowledge the insensitive statements, actions, and posture of President Buhari in his dealings with the Igbos, we mustn't now impale on our own sword. War solves nothing, as we should have learnt from the carnage of the Biafra War. Seeking peaceful dialogue doesn't make anyone a coward. It shows strength of character. Boko Haram spread and was sustained because of the same fear in the northeast of Nigeria. The leaders and elders chose to look the other way so as to protect their lives and property. But now, we see the entire northern region engulfed in flames. Who did this to us? How did our beloved nation turn to the murder capital of the world? Who taught our youths how to drink the blood of the innocent? Don't we know that blood is addictive? Blood intoxicates. When you start, you can't stop. I often heard my late father say, Ofu ekune ebuipala, anu ekune ebuikolo. This translated means when elders see and refuse to talk, it destroys them. When the young hear and refuse to adhere, it also destroys them. Leaders must rise up and lead because the failure of leadership is destroying our country. Our leaders must stop pandering to the vocal minority whilst ignoring the silent majority. At the same time, the silent majority should realize that silence in the face of evil implies agreement, acceptance, consent, and support. For too long, we watched the Buhari-led APC government lead our nation to the brink of disaster. And those who should ordinarily speak up fail to do so for fear of arrest. Today I say to you, 1,000 arrests is better than one senseless murder. Why are we desensitized to the bloodshed around us? How do we sleep when our children are in the custody of terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers for months, some for years? Their families have been abandoned to their fate. What do we say to them? Our streets flow with the blood of the innocent and the tears of the grieving. This is not the Nigeria of our dreams. This is not the Nigeria our forefathers envisioned. We must chart a new course. We must steer in a different direction. We must enthrone new leaders. We must resist the desperate and wicked who seek power as a tool of oppression and coercion. We must fight for our freedom. We have been enslaved for too long. Our voice is stolen. Our future all but destroyed. It's time to break the shackles of bondage. We must rescue our nation from clueless and wicked leadership. While nations are reducing taxes, providing grant subsidies and loans to individuals and businesses in order to boost the economy, our government continues to burden us with taxes and levies. In the face of inflation and recession, the APC government chooses to increase duties on used vehicles, increase electricity tariffs, increase duties across board on all imported goods. They continue to borrow to fund bridges and roads that lead nowhere whilst neglecting critical sectors of the economy. They know they won't be around to repay the loans, so they have no qualms in mortgaging our future and that of our children to foreign lenders. Whilst nations are providing free broadband services to their citizens with the understanding that the internet is the new superhighway linking the world, telecom companies in Nigeria seek to increase tariffs because they are burdened with the exchange rate, inflation, and price of diesel. We are truly a nation in distress. So what to do? Should we fold our hands and watch as foreign invaders take over our land, whilst our overstretched and overwhelmed military remain unfunded? This is the same Nigerian army that quelled wars and maintained the peace in other nations. There's indeed something wrong somewhere. My fellow Nigerians, the time has come for us to take our destiny in our hands. The polls still remain the only legitimate means of changing government in the face of an unwilling and emasculated parliament. The Nigeria of our dreams is one that works for all, irrespective of tongue, tribe, or religion. It's a nation that guarantees basic amenities for all her citizens. It's a nation built on meritocracy and not on mediocrity. It's a nation that promotes love and leaves no one behind. It is a nation that understands that we must protect the young, support the weak and elderly, and provide an enabling environment for all to thrive. It's a nation that respects the sanctity of human life and protects women. It's a nation that doesn't eat her young. EndSARS was a turning point for our nation. Our youths were abused and brutalized. The same might with which the government used to put down violent protest is the same might they must use to protect all voices of dissent. That's the beauty of democracy. Asking the Nigerian president to resign should never be criminalized. Never. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nigerians, it's time to arise. Parties like the African Democratic Congress have made it free for youths, women, and people with disabilities to run for office. Nigerian youths have no excuse now. History beckons on all us to rescue our nation. The battle won't be easy. The road is long and the mountain high. But we must face this obstacle. It's our collective destiny. Your emancipation lies in your PVC. For the last 2 decades, less than 10 million people who reside in the rural areas have determined those who lead us. Those of us in the urban centers don't vote. Over 50 million eligible voters who should determine the fate of our nation remain apathetic towards voting. They erroneously believe that their votes don't count or that elections are characterized by violence. I come to tell you today that this is a big lie. Our oppressors want you to believe this because they know they can't buy your votes. They know the day you decide to vote that they will be voted out. Now is the time to vote. This is our moment. We can do this. We must do this. Get your PVC. Stand for elections. Use social media to create support groups. Follow us on social media and share all our materials. When they share money, we'll share our vision. Be bold and courageous. We will win this battle. 2023 is our year of victory. My name is Dumebi Kachiku, and African Democratic Congress is my party. Before I leave you today, I make this solemn promise to you. If given the honor to be your president, I will make Nigeria work for everyone. I will lead in love. Together we'll build a united nation that guarantees your freedoms and civil liberties. A nation where the majority are prosperous and the less privileged are supported. I'll put an end to the religious and ethnic strife. I will secure our borders, end the war in the north and maintain peace across our nation. Our children will have jobs and our schools will truly represent citadels of learning. Our nation will become the beacon of hope it once was to all Africans. This is my promise. It is a promise rooted in love of God, nation, and mankind. I love you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you all.